Testing.
In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of 1975, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided. If any member has reason to believe this meeting is being held in violation of this act, they should state so at this time. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Werner,
Here.
Mr. Venuto.
Here.
Mr. Ledwin.
Here.
Mrs. Notch.
Here.
Ms. Sheehan.
Here.
Mr. Walsh.
Here.
Mr. Zexer.
Here.
Mr. Yeager.
Here.
Ms. Stevenson. Here. Thank you.
Okay, we have a resolution for the Bray Family Partnership, 720 Washington Street. Can I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Venuto motions, Mrs. Notch seconds. Mr. Ledwin.
Abstain.
Mrs. Notch.
Yes.
Ms. Sheehan.
Yes.
Mr. Walsh.
Yes.
Mr. Zexer.
Yes.
Mr. Venuto.
Yes.
Mrs. Werner.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we have the minutes of the May 28th, 2026 meeting. Can we have a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Zexer motions, Mr. Walsh seconds. Mr. Ledwin.
Abstain.
Mrs. Notch.
Yes.
Ms. Sheehan.
Yes.
Mr. Walsh.
Yes.
Mr. Zexer.
Yes.
Mr. Venuto.
Yes.
Mrs. Werner.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm going to jump a little bit ahead and do Mr. Hurlis's payment here.
The billing.
Yeah, the billing. So could we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Mr. Venuto motions, Ms. Stevenson seconds. Mr. Ledwin.
Yes.
Mrs. Notch.
Yes.
Ms. Sheehan.
Yes.
Mr. Walsh.
Yes.
Mr. Zexer.
Yes.
Mr. Venuto.
Yes.
Mrs. Werner.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, our first two applications tonight, I am within 200 feet, so I'm going to recuse myself. But the first application is Michael Mortimer, 444, 446, and 448 West Perry Street. Thank you.
Okay. Can you guys introduce yourselves?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Anthony Monzo from Monzo Academy Stellalis, representing the applicant Michael Mortimer, who's to my left. To my right is Paul Cates, professional planner and engineer, who will provide testimony to support the variances that are identified,
Can you move that mic a little
In the-
closer? Yeah.
to support the variances that are identified in the application. Just by way of background, I can get a little bit of history of the property. It seems like there's a lot going on here and a lot of variances, but these are all pre-existing non-conforming, mainly non-conforming conditions, just triggered by some lot line adjustments that are being proposed. The properties are 444, 446, and 448 West Perry Street. Mr. Mortimer is a power of attorney for his mother, who's technically the owner, but he and his two siblings are basically the beneficial owners of these three properties. Mr. Mortimer owns the single-family detached dwelling unit at 448, and there's, next to it are two single-family attached units, 446 and 444. I've introduced, or I've given you some exhibits, just briefly to explain them. We don't have to go through them in detail. Exhibit A1 is it's a copy of basically it's a copy of the subdivision or lot line adjustment plan, but the yellow line that you see is what these lots above the yellow line look like prior to a lot consolidation that took place in 2014. Below the yellow line was another parcel that Mr. Mortimer's father had acquired in 2014, did a subdivision, and then merged all of that property that actually fronts Congress Street. He merged that with the corner lot, which is 444, all the way to the right. And as you look at the next photo, Exhibit A2, 444, which is lot 5.01, became a long lot that actually expanded into that large section facing Congress. So we have one really large, irregular shaped lot, and we have these two parcels, 4 and 3, that are adjacent to it. And what the applicant would like to do is create some additional lot area for lots 3 and 4 and reduce some of the lot area for lot 5.01. So these are now proposed as lots 3.01, 4.01, and 5.02. But the next set of exhibits are just photos that you can peruse of existing conditions. And some of them are from the front of the house. The first one, A3, is facing the properties from West Perry. A4 is actually what it looks like from Congress Street. And you can see the brown house is Mr. Mortimer's property, which is Lot 3, and the two side-by-sides are next to that, which are lots 4 and 5.01. So the purpose of this application is twofold. Number one is to do the lot line adjustment. And the second part of this application, which really triggered this, and then since we had to come to the board, a decision was made to do this adjustment to the lot lines. Mr. Mortimer's property faces West Perry. It really has no front. There's no door entering this property from the front of the house. The only door is to the side of the house. And it was accessed through stairs and a small landing that actually jutted out beyond the facade of the home, which was about 8 feet from the property line. The house is about 10 feet from the property line. Mr. Mortimer was attempting to just rebuild that and make it a little bit larger so he had some more area to come up into the front door with, and he was told that he needed a permit because it was too close to the front. We thought that with averaging, it would work because all the other properties go out farther than this.
You said permit, you meant variance, right?
Pardon me?
You said permit, you meant variance?
Well, needed a variance, yes, needed a variance, I'm sorry. And the only reason lot averaging didn't work is because there was one property next to it that was more than 2 times the distance to the street than this was, and that was one of the prohibitions in the ordinance to use the lot averaging exception. So as a result, he needed a variance. He needs a variance for the reconstruction of that landing. And as a result of that, he decided to move it back. He went to the HPC, got conceptual approval. They wanted him to move it back to be flush with the facade of the property, so it doesn't go out 8 feet. It's 10 feet from the property line, same as the house. He got conceptual approval. It's a little bit larger than the landing he had. There's a pergola over it. The HPC did approve it conceptually, so we're asking for, I guess technically, a variance to expand a structure that's encroaching in the front yard because the setback is 25 feet and we are 10 feet. So it's only that corner of the property where there's this, where the stairs and the landing exist that would trigger that variance. And the other variance new variance that's triggered is a D2 variance because Lot 5.01, which as a result of the 2014 lot consolidation has about 10,000 square feet. And as a result of this lot line adjustment, it will be reduced to around 6,000 square feet, which is still significantly more than it used to be before the lot consolidation. But because this is a non-conforming use, a detached single-family dwelling unit in a zone that doesn't permit that, even though there's no expansion of the property, the lot size is being reduced and therefore it triggers the D2 variance. So they are, the other variances are all existing conditions, which Paul will get into as he goes through his testimony. So with that background, we can swear in the witnesses. I don't intend to ask Mr. Mortimer any questions, but he's here to answer questions. And Mr. Cates, who I'm assuming you accept as an expert without
Yes.
his credentials, so he can be sworn in. Both should be sworn in just in case.
Also swear in the board engineer that all of you swear or affirm the testimony about the Davis truth, nothing but truth, so be it.
I do.
Okay, Mr. Cates, if you can just explain the project and also go through the variances that are requested, please.
Try to be quick, but there is many. So again, we're located on West Perry to the east of the intersection with Park Boulevard. Lot 3 is currently 49.6 feet wide by 100 feet deep. Lot 4 is 25 feet wide and 100 feet deep, where the remaining lot, Lot 5.01, is also 25 feet wide, but it has that irregular portion.
Can I time out? The record needs to be clear on the lot numbers for history purposes.
Okay,
And the tax assessor recommend that lot 5 be referred to as 5.02.
okay. Well,
So that the resolution reflects it, so that 10 years from now, when someone pulls out the resolution.
right.
We know what's going on.
So right now it's referring to the existing lots with the
Okay,
existing
I
lot
just wa-
numbers.
But
Yeah, and
before you
just-
get into testimony,
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
want to make sure that the record.
Yeah, so when I transition to what we're proposing, I'll make sure
Yeah.
I keep
What's
those-
confusing is Lot 5, it used to be Lot 5.
Right.
It became 5.01 when it was consolidated with the large parcel. Now it's proposed to be Lot 5.02.
Right.
Thank you, Craig.
The plan says 5.011, but that's not.
That should, we'll revise the plan. to
Right, that's,
Show it as
I
5.
just want to call it one thing in my notes, so it's lots 3.
Microphone, please.
This thing says 3.01, so just tell me what the 3 lots are, so I just write it down once.
Okay, the existing lots are 3, 4, and 5.01. The proposed lots are 3.01, 4.01, and 5.02.
And that was 5.011?
Yeah, on the plan, it says 5.01.
Okay, well, that's okay. I mean, the things happen on the plan. I'm not being critical. I just want to write it down the same way each time. Okay, thank you, guys.
All right.
All right.
thanks.
So, existing lot 3, soon to be 3.01 if approved, is going to go from 4,965 square feet to 6,300 square feet. Lot 4, if it becomes 4.01, will go from 2,517 square feet to 4,745 square feet. And 5.01, when it becomes 5.02, we'll see a reduction from 9,831 square feet to 6,268 square feet. So in addition to that, obviously, as discussed, the plan is to construct a new frame deck on 3.01 where there's an existing frame deck. The front portion of that deck will be pulled back in line with the existing building, and then the stairs will go towards the back of the lot. And then we're also proposing a second larger deck in the rear yard, but that deck's fully conforming. So with regard to the variances, so proposed lot 3.1 has 4 pre-existing nonconformities. 3 of those are going to remain unchanged while 1 is being made more conforming. And there's also an additional nonconformity that's being exacerbated. So the lot currently has 49.65 feet of frontage, where 60 feet is required for both lot width and lot frontage. The building setback line is currently at 7.9 feet to the frame deck where 25 feet is required. That deck is being reconfigured to be consistent with the building setback and will be 9.8 feet if approved. For lot size, we're increasing the lot to 6,300 square feet where 7,500 square feet is required. So the lot is increasing in size, but it's still short of what's required. Proposed lot 4.01, this lot has 9 existing nonconformities. 7 of those will remain unchanged while we eliminate one and make another one more conforming. So the first is the use. 2-family attached homes are not permitted in the R2 district. The use is proposed to remain unchanged. The density with this lot is actually decreasing while the lot size increases. So this lot currently has 25 feet of frontage where 60 feet is required for lot width and lot frontage. That building front setback line is currently at 8.1 feet where 25 is required. The side yard setbacks to this building are 5.6 and 0, where a minimum of 5 feet is required for each and a total combined of 15 is required. So one is deficient in that it's 0 where 5 is required, and the total is 5.6 where 15 is required. The other pre-existing nonconformity is the setback to the shed, which is currently at 1 foot where 5 foot is required. And then for lot size on this lot, we're increasing to 4,745 square feet where 7,500 square feet is required. So again, this lot is increasing in size, but it's still short of what's required. And then we're eliminating the existing non-conforming lot coverage by increasing the lot size. Currently, we're at 50% of lot coverage, and we're dropping to 26.5. So we're eliminating that non-conformity. And then on the final lot, lot 5.02, this lot currently has 6 existing nonconformities. All 6 of those will remain, and we are exacerbating the existing nonconforming use and creating one additional variance with the reduction in lot size. So first, the use. So as I stated before, 2-family attached homes are not permitted in the R2 district.
Can I just slow you down just for 1 second?
Yeah.
Can you use the mic?
Yeah, right now, I can't get any closer to it. I would actually choke on it. All right, can you just review for a second where the lot lines are changing? I mean, maybe everybody else understands this perfectly. I'm just not totally clear because something's getting bigger that I thought would be getting smaller. And I asked the gentleman next to me, and he wasn't totally clear either, so I felt a little more.
So here, I'll walk through a little closer. So if you look at A2, is a good illustration of the existing. So right now, lot 3 comes down to the red dotted line, which is highlighted in yellow, comes across that 49.68 feet, and then returns to the street. So it's a perfectly rectangle lot.
Okay.
That lot is proposed to gain this sort of, irregular triangle portion directly behind it. So lot 4 is currently the 25 feet wide by 100 feet deep and contains that little jog in it, which is also highlighted in yellow on A2. So that lot is going to pick up an additional 25 feet of width on that same angle that lot 3 was on, and then turn to the right behind lot 3. So that's where that one is picking up land. Now, currently, lot 5.01 has the 25 feet by 100, but then it also has the entirety, if you look at A2 from the yellow line towards Congress Street. So it has all of that, and it's giving up the 2 portions that I just previously stated.
All right. What's on A2? What's the significance of the purple line?
I think, so those are utility lines. So they're just the overhead utility lines, the way the surveyor had drafted them. Or you mean the purple line in the back?
No,
dot-
it's
the
one
purple
that's
dotted line.
is like the red one. Okay, so
Yeah, so that was I think that was part of the former application where they were creating this parking lot and subdividing off the other lot. And I don't recall in that application.
I don't know what the purple line is. The red dotted line is the existing lot line.
on A2.
But I think
on
that-
A2, that's the existing lot line on A2?
I think,
The red dotted line that's highlighted in
I
yellow.
believe that the area in front of the purple line is the area that's going to be the subject of cross-access easements for access to the parking lot. So that entire area that's shaded that's going to be subject to easements to each of the owners so they can all access the parking.
The answer to the purple line is, I don't know what that is.
I think it's the easement line.
It separates the shaded, it's not clear on A2, but on the plan itself, it separates the shaded area from the non-shaded area.
And it's giving each of the occupants access to the parking lot. So I believe that's going to be in the easement description for the cross access. That's what the purple line is.
Okay, I think I understand it. So all of this below the red line was part of 5.01.
Correct.
And that,
Okay, that's the part that was a little tricky. Okay, so 5.01 was the big 9,800 square foot one.
Correct.
And that's losing ground. And what it's losing is the area below the red line on lot 4 and below the red line on lot 3.
Correct.
Lot 5 is losing. Did everybody understand it now? I did not understand it till this second, but now I think I do.
It's a little convoluted.
Okay, all right, look,
So here's that red line.
see this here? This big thing right here, shaped like that big thing like that, that was lot 5. That was 9,831 feet. Lot 5 is losing this section to lot 3 and this section to lot 4. So that's why 3 and 4 are getting bigger and 5 is getting smaller. Okay, and I know they're technically, we just gave them different names, but. Okay. 3, 4, 5, you get it?
got it.
Yeah, this had a lot of lines on it. It just,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought I might be the only one who didn't understand it, but I don't think I was.
I've had a couple days to look at it, so.
All right, awesome. Thank you. That's good. That helps. Everything will be clear now, at least for me while I write it.
No, that's good.
So why don't you just, I guess, touch on the new variances, the 2 that we identified, or 3, and then we can get into the proofs for them.
Okay. Let me.
Mr. Cates, is your testimony and expertise in architecture, planning, engineering?
Engineering and planning.
Okay, thank you.
So for the 2 new variances, with respect to proposed lot 3.01, it's the expansion of the front porch. And then even though it's closer to the home and a reduction of the nonconformity and not extending beyond the building line, it does trigger that new variance because it's an expansion of the nonconforming front yard setback since the building encroaches into the front yard. With respect to lot 5.02, we're taking a lot that does have conforming lot size to a lot that is slightly below the minimum lot size, but we are increasing and thus reducing the nonconformities with respect to the proposed lots 3.01 and 4.01. And then with lot 5.2, it has an attached dwelling unit, which is not permitted in the zone, and that lot size is being reduced, and that triggers the D2 variance expansion of the non-conforming use. I do want to note, too, that in the subdivision prior to 2014, lot 5.02, or proposed lot 5.02, was 2,846 square feet, so approximately 37% of what was required in the zone. And the current, what we're proposing, 6,268 square feet, will be 83% of what's required. So it's better than it was historically. It's making the 2 adjacent lots significantly better, but it is a reduction, and it is therefore causing the variance.
So why don't you jump to the front porch variance, and can you explain the C2 hardship criteria and give some testimony as to whether this satisfies that?
Yeah, so with the hardship, by reason of exceptional narrowness, shallowness, or shape of a specific piece of property is one of the criteria with which you can qualify for the hardship. So the house is pre-existing lawfully constructed structure. It does have that entrance on the side and the front, and there's no way to create a new landing or expand that porch to make it more functional without triggering this front yard variance. So because it is pre-existing and non-conforming and would satisfy that hardship criteria, just being exacerbated, we believe that it can be approved under the hardship criteria.
And what about all of the, I mean, I guess from Craig's standpoint and Rich, do we need to put proofs on for the pre-existing nonconformities to save time? I mean, is that?
I don't think that you do, only the ones you're expanding.
Okay. All right, because that'll save some.
How old, just put some in the record, just how old is the house? Like, how long have these conditions been there?
So the ages of the house, I'm approximating, the house 448 West Perry, I think was built in 1920,
There's only got to be more than 20 years, I think, under our ordinance to be a,
and the other two were even before that.
okay. That's fine, just so
How
we
long
have
has
something to
your
write.
family owned these properties?
The very first one since 1971.
Okay.
So I can run through them quick because we'll need them for the front yard setback. But we do believe that this, proof A, encourage municipal action to guide the appropriate use or development of all lands in the state in a manner in which promote public health, safety, morals, general welfare. C, provide adequate light, air, and open space. E, that'll promote the establishment of appropriate population densities. G, we are providing sufficient space in appropriate locations. I, to promote desirable visual environment through creative development techniques and good civic design. And J, to promote the conservation of historic sites and districts, open space, energy resources, and valuable natural resources in the state. So that's what I had earmarked as the proofs that kind of function for.
What do you
all
think is your
three.
best proof? I mean, a lot of those are
Right.
very tangential. Just give me the one that clearly
Probably,
advances and say why. Say it advances light, air, and open space because it's a front porch, right?
Yeah, and I think though J, it promotes the conservation of historic sites in the districts and energy resources. So obviously this is old enough to be a historic site or a historic home, and the way we're configuring it will preserve that as opposed to demoing it, creating a.
You have
conforming
HPC
structure.
approval, right? That's an indication that it promotes historic.
Conceptual, and for the record, it's a contributing structure in the district as well.
Thank you. Historic site since HPC has approved it. All right, thank you. I just want to try to get the highlights.
And, I mean, you went through the purposes of zoning. They apply to the front porch and also, in your opinion, to all the pre-existing conditions as well.
That's correct.
What about the proposed lot 5.02? Can you just run through the hardship criteria as well as the C2 on that? Or actually, I think we can get that approved just under the D2 criteria. Can you go through the D2 criteria for the expansion of a non-conforming use?
Yeah, so the purposes of, with respect to C variance, we'll apply to, so all of the C variance proofs that we did will apply to this D variances. But specifically, we need to apply the substantial increasing test, which focuses on whether the expansion significantly intensifies the existing non-conforming use. Although the positive criteria is still required and we put on the record, it can be met by demonstrating that this benefits the neighborhood and properties around it or constitutes an improvement to the site. And in this case, obviously, we're making the surrounding properties significantly more conforming, closer to what's there, while not detracting from the way that the property currently operates. And therefore, we believe we meet that positive criteria for a substantial increase.
And just to touch on the practical reasons, you're increasing lot sizes that are woefully deficient.
Correct.
Also, parking is being made available for all three properties through this cross easement,
Correct.
and currently none exist, at least for lots 3.01, proposed lots 3.01 and 4.01, there's no parking.
That's
at all.
correct. There's no curb cuts and no driveways, so no parking whatsoever.
And also with respect to 4.01, right now, there is a lot coverage deficiency,
Correct.
which no longer exists as a result of increasing lot size.
Yeah, it'll be eliminated with this increase.
I think, so just touch on the negative criteria, if you can, for all these variances.
Yeah, so as far as detriment to the public good or substantial impairment to the intent and purpose of the zone plan and zoning ordinance, we could find no detrimental effect, again, by providing parking for two structures that currently have no parking. We're not removing any off-street parking with this application. We're not removing on-street parking. We're maintaining the curb the way it is. Therefore, we could see no detriment to the zone plan or the zoning ordinances, and therefore we think it can be granted without any negative effect. Correct. All of them.
I don't have any further questions for Mr. Cates. We can entertain board questions or go to Mr. Hurlis's review memo.
All right, does anyone from the board have any questions?
The shed on lot 5011, it says here that it's 4.1 to the property line, but I don't see where you're asking for a variance for that. It's got to be 5 foot, right? If I'm wrong. You're asking for a variance for lot 401,
Yeah, where it's a foot,
which is like a foot, but the other one is,
4.1.
the other one is too close also, right?
It is. Yeah, we missed that one.
You need a variance for that one.
So we do need,
Can you just, are these movable sheds?
Which one are we talking about? Which shed? There's three
shed
sheds.
all the way to the right on 5
I even
point.
wrote it in my chart.
That is not movable.
As non-conforming.
So that is on a foundation, so it's not movable, so we will need that variance as well.
Well, how long has that been there?
Probably late 70s.
I think that our ordinance says that if it's been there for more than 20 years, it's pre-existing non-conforming structure, right?
Yeah, I would just edit my report to
Okay.
verify that it's existing non-conforming and they're not proposing anything.
And the shed that's on 401, that's not movable either?
It is not. It's on a slab.
I was just thinking, if you could just drag them out of the way.
I have a question about the parking. You're proposing clamshells? Is that correct? I thought we weren't allowed to have clamshells as parking lots?
So
For residential parking, less than 5 parking spaces, it's a permitted surface.
Okay, so it's only going to be 5 parking spots in there? Four. And are there going to be required, I don't know, easements for allowing them to have parking there?
Yeah, in fact, in Craig's review memo, we identified that, and that'll be submitted as a condition of
Just,
approval.
I was going to talk about that
Okay.
parking lot in my review, but
Sure.
that parking lot was required when the original Graham Mortimer subdivision was done, and those improvements were never put in, so.
All the other improvements, I mean, the curbing was in, the sidewalks in, the aprons in, and the only thing that wasn't
improvements were
done is
never put
landscaping and
in, so-
parking lot, yeah.
What I said was true. The improvements were never put in for the parking lot. So we've been, this is a good thing to get this going. We certainly will not sign off on any improvements until that parking lot is in this time, because of the lag and delay of that parking lot never being improved.
Mr. Hurlis, I just want to address that. I mean, the deck is one thing, but right now, there is no entry into the house. There is basically a platform. The stairs aren't in yet because he couldn't finish it. So he'd like to at least finish the front, the entry into the house, and maybe hold off on the deck if that's, it may take a little more time to get this parking lot in, but
There's certainly going to be a performance guarantee that's furnished that makes sure that this is done this time, because it should have been done a decade ago. Okay?
And the reason there is no door is because he took it off, correct? Or he
well, the
removed it?
door's there, there's no stairs.
Because he removed them, right?
Yeah, it took
Yeah.
them down.
Right.
Try to put a decking in.
Right.
If you look at A6, you can see what it looks like right now. And there's no way, for him to get into the front of his house.
Have you seen the comments from the zoning officer? Were you made aware of those?
No, I didn't see them.
Can I get an extra one? Oh. Here you go. And it just talks about some things that were done and how they were stopped in the past. Will this application being approved address and make sure that all of those issues will be taken care of?
Yeah, and we did submit this, when we submitted this application, we had to survey the property next door because we thought that the lot averaging would apply and that this would not be considered a structure in the front yard, but it turned out that there was a shed that was too far back on the property next door that it created that exception to the averaging rule, which is why we submitted, and we initially submitted a planning board application, not realizing that this was an expansion of a non-conforming use. and then we had to resubmit it as a zoning board application with the D2 variance. So there was not, we didn't ignore it. It just has taken us some time to get through this process.
All right. Well, I gotta put stuff on paper eventually, so there's talk of generally you can't start construction until you do the site improvements. That's what Craig said. And then you asked if you could do a door, but nobody voted on anything. I don't know what we're doing, so I think we're gonna vote on your application. And then we'll have a separate vote on this order of the improvements, and then the board will make a decision. But I can't just have comments in the rec. I gotta have like
Okay.
decisions. So does everybody know? Craig, can you repeat what you said?
When I go through my review memo.
All right, good, fine. I just don't want to leave it out there and then we get yelled at by the construction officer and
Understood.
you think you can do it and it's not in the resolution and then it's a big mess, so.
Before Craig starts, one question for Craig. There's a curb cut on West Perry and there's a curb cut on Congress that look like they line right up. What are the rules and regulations as driving straight through from one street to the other? These properties will now be able to drive from that curb cut on West Perry all the way straight back. Is that a problem, or can you do that?
I don't think that's going to be a problem. And the reason is, and this plan does not show the approved improvements for that parking lot. I seem to remember that there was landscaping vegetation that was around it or possibly a low fence.
To cut it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you will not be able to drive all the way through,
Okay, that's,
okay?
certainly, yeah.
That's the worry.
Other questions? If we have no other questions, Craig, would you like to do your review?
I certainly would. So I'd like to summarize my review memorandum dated February 25th, 2026 for this application. Once again, it is in the R2 low medium density residential district. These are, you will be approving use variances as well as other C variances and approving a minor subdivision. That's something you guys don't get a lot of, but because this deals with a non-conforming use, that's your jurisdiction in this, on this instance. Okay? So you've heard testimony from the applicant, what they're looking to do. I'm just gonna, for the sake of time, roll right into my completeness review. They asked for a waiver from items number 19. We supported that. Item 22 was deficient information. That information should be provided on a plan as a condition of approval, as well as item number 32, which is providing the legal description of the easement that's proposed. That easement is proposed across the back of lots 4.01 and 5.02 for the benefit of all three lots that are in that subdivision. Okay, so all three of those uses will be able to utilize that parking lot. That was the intent in the beginning. That is not being changed by this subdivision, so that's a good thing. However, the easement and legal description has got to be provided as a condition of approval. Item 33 is the landscaping plan they requested a waiver from. We did support that waiver. The map details on page 3 of 10, item M says that the evidence of lot numbering should be provided, and this is me telling you what the tax assessor recommended that the lot number should be. The plans are not consistent, particularly with lot 5. It's listed as 5.011 instead of lot 5.02, so we've asked them to revise the plans accordingly. P is another rehash of them being required to provide the easement legal description. And finally, letter S, when subdivisions are done, we forward the AutoCAD version to the tax assessor, so the tax maps can be updated, so that needs to be provided as a condition of approval. Based on all of those recommendations, I did support deeming this application complete. To highlight the variances that are required, and I'm just going to talk about the ones that are being changed by this. We have a lot of existing non-conforming situations that affect these lots. For lot 3.01, and this is a typo in my report, the building setback line from West Perry Street has a requirement of 25-foot setback. 7.9 feet exists to the existing deck. That deck is being demolished and replaced with a new deck that will have a setback of 9.8 feet. My report says 7.9 feet. That is incorrect. All of the other nonconformities, we would approve as just updating the approval with this subdivision, but none of that bulk area information is being changed. Proposed lot 4.01. This one contains one half of the non-conforming structure. Two-family attached structures are not permitted. Lot 4 and 5, it straddles the common lot line on the common party wall. So both of these next lots contain the non-conforming use. The lot size is being increased. So 7,500 square feet is required in a district. 2517 exists, and 4745 square foot is proposed. So that lot is getting bigger. So the density is being lessened in there. So that's not really an issue. And there's no other nonconformities that are being created by the lot line adjustment for that. So all of those are existing nonconformities. Lot 5.02. This is the other half of the nonconforming use. This lot is becoming smaller. It was 9,831 square feet, so it did conform, and now it's going to be proposed non-conforming, 6,268 square feet. So there's a use variance that triggers because it's a non-conforming use. The lot is getting smaller. But from a practical standpoint, when you evaluate this use variance, this use has already existed. These lots have kind of been utilized together. There was already a common easement across the back to support parking. That parking is still going to be contained within a existing easement. So can the lot, when you ask yourself the question, can the lot support this existing use on a smaller lot? I would argue that it can, because of the way that the easements are and the way this lot has functioned in relationship to the other lots. Okay, so that's a summary of the variances that are triggered by the lot line adjustments. I'm going to move on to page 8 of 10. And the first comment talks about the subdivision conditions that require parking improvements to be constructed along with the access to Congress Street. I recommended that no further improvements be permitted until the parking improvements associated with the original subdivision have been completed. I think Rich has asked you to vote separately on that. The applicant is making an argument against that because of this has been required for so long. I'm hesitant to recommend that we not mesh these things in together to make sure that those parking lot improvements are completed this time and not left out there blowing in the wind. Item number 2 is just indicate the building height provided on the plans. Item 3 is compliance with our Chapter 258, the flood damage protection. The first floor elevation should be provided on the plan as a condition of any approval. 4 is our recommendation to provide the zoning table to be revised to reflect the comments in this review memorandum and as updated by the comments during this testimony. 5 is to provide more detailed lot coverage calculations. We are unclear to whether the lot coverage calculations include the required parking improvements, so detailed calculations are required for review. I don't think they go over, but they should be updated and so that we have a updated plan. 6 is providing the floor area ratio information on the plan. Once again, that is a relationship to the lot, and the lot sizes are changing. I don't think that's creating a nonconformity. I would sure hope not, or they were going to have to come back if they didn't ask for that
In
variance.
fact, it's eliminating,
Okay, that's,
on the real small lot, it's getting it up.
okay. I was more worried about the lot that was getting smaller, so. Anyway, 7 is our comment, and this is where we review compliance with our flood and grading and drainage requirements. We did find the plan acceptable. The previous plan that was approved addressed some of the coverages that are required for the new parking lot. So they're just required to comply with that statute and under item number 8. 9 is provide the parking calculations on the plans. 10 is the requirement to provide one street tree along Congress Street. That should be added to the plan. 11 is sort of talking about something that I just mentioned is there is a landscaping and vegetation plan that was already approved for the required parking lot. So they are required to screen the proposed clamshell parking area with landscaping. That is shown on that approved plan. So I just wanted to advise the board that they will be providing landscaping there. 12 is our standard recommendation that they evaluate the sidewalk prior or after construction, to evaluate, make sure that it is all non-damaged sidewalk. 13, 14, 15, 13 and 14 are standard conditions that deal with the inspection escrows, performance guarantees, and issuance of certificates of occupancy, as well as 14. Item 15 deals with compliance with the requirements of our other commissions. We did receive reports from the tax assessor, which I already went over. The fire department recommended approval dated 3/3/26 with no comments. Public Works recommended approval dated 2/27/26, no comments. Shade Tree Commission recommended approval with the following condition: the Colorado blue spruce in the rear garden of 448 Perry Street should remain along with the holly tree in the front of the same address. So, I don't know what that
Tree protection zone.
will not need to be in place. Is that acceptable?
That's acceptable. One comment, Mr. Hurlis, and just for the board, in connection with the vote that Mr. King mentioned, the applicant is willing to put up a letter of credit to cover the engineer's estimates for the cost of the parking lot so that he can get the front steps installed as soon as the approval is finalized, if it is approved. So that, when you decide that issue, if you can take that into consideration.
Tony, my sense of it isn't as much that he'll never do it, it's that he has to do it very soon, because it was supposed to be done 10 years ago. So aside from letter of credit, when does that letter of credit surrender? I mean, like, it's got to be like, I think you have a better shot if you give like a deadline, like, I'm going to do this parking lot by
6 months.
X date, or you guys.
It's going to take 6 months.
Let's say, he said 6 months, but I like to put 9 months in. It'll be done by the end of the year. Probably at the end of the summer, he'll probably do it, and it'll be done in the fall. 6 to 9 months would be adequate.
Okay. I don't vote. I just want to
Okay.
make it, so you'll put a letter of credit, promise to have it done in 9 months? That's the vote you want us to do?
Yeah.
Okay, well, someone makes that motion after we deal with your application, then
Okay.
we'll vote on it, okay?
Craig, I have a question for you. Are you done, or?
And let me just wrap this up. So we talked about the zoning officer's review comment, and you believe that this application will address those, so there's no other issues there. I'll take your question now.
Okay. Is there sidewalks on Congress Street?
Yes,
Or do
there
they,
is.
okay. I thought I read somewhere there was no sidewalk on that Congress Street, but there is?
It's in fact one of the photos that we have from Congress Street. You can see the sidewalk along with the curb and the apron.
Okay. Drainage, what about the drainage? Is that going to be addressed?
That was part of the approved parking lot plan before. So yes, that's going to be addressed.
And then my question about the parking. There's 4 spots, there's 3 houses. How does that divvy up the parking spots?
I don't believe, so I read the resolution of approval. It's, this goes back beyond my memory, so I can't remember how it was done. I don't think they were assigned. I don't think they were assigned to units.
Okay, I didn't know if they're putting an easement in it, if it says, 2 to 1, one each have 1, or,
The resolution didn't specify and the approved plans didn't specify.
Is there a reason why they didn't go bigger with the parking lot?
I don't recall why the board had them do what they did at that time.
And I understand there's an easement, but that lot, the parking lot goes with 502?
So the parking lot itself is located on lots 4.01 and 5.02. But there's an easement for the benefit of all three lots.
Isn't I'm just trying to figure that, the dotted line, isn't that where it goes, the parking lot? So wouldn't it be on all three, or,
No.
okay. Oh, so it doesn't touch
Lot
one,
3.01 is stopped short before
Okay.
it gets to that.
but the other two, that lot coverage would be part of them when it goes into the,
Yeah, so,
okay.
and it's obvious, but the benefit of providing parking with access to Congress Street is far safer than having back out parking on the West Perry Street. So, and anytime we can clean up West Perry Street with, driveway access, we try to do that. So I think that was the intent of the board in determining that they should have a parking lot at that location.
And being that it's clamshells, so they're going to have a border around it to prevent the clamshells from going out, or how's that going to work?
There was a landscape border, so there's like a berm around it. So
Okay.
The clamshells are not going to be spilling out onto the roadway.
Because that's going to go underneath the previous requirement with that parking lot, correct?
Yes.
Craig, can you just help me out here? I just want to make sure I understand the easement part. So this lot line here, right? Where is this lot going to end when this is all said and done?
This lot is the dark lot line right here. This.
Okay, so they all touch that shaded area. Got it. All right.
Right.
Yep.
This here is the actual
Parking
perimeter
lot.
of the parking with 1, 2, 3, 4 parking spaces.
And that big shaded area is going to be the easement that all of you, anybody can go anywhere in that shaded area. That's the gist of it.
Correct.
Okay.
So that you can get out of your car and traverse to your lot.
So there's no real easements, so to speak, like a path or a road. It's just a big area is kind of for everybody.
It's a common area.
Yeah, that's good. I
Common
understand.
parking area for all three lots.
Just make sure everyone's supposed to do something else.
Right.
Thanks.
No, it's important. All of the other items in my report are typical conditions of approval that we would recommend for an application of this type. I won't bore you with those things, but that's items 15 through 20. So if there's any questions that the board has, I know that I've been taking questions as I went along, but
You said the original minor subdivision was approved 10 years ago?
it was 2014, I think,
Okay.
in that around that,
And that included the parking,
that included that part.
which has not been done
Right.
since.
That's why I'm making a point to make sure that this is done.
Do we have a reason why it had, I mean, it's over 10 years. Why hasn't it been done?
Well, first of all, Mr. Mortimer's father handled this. He's no longer alive.
Okay.
His mother has dementia, so it's really hard to get a history of this, other than what the ownership is. So, but I appreciate the question.
How long has Mr. Mortimer owned it?
I'm sorry?
How long have you owned it? How long has it been since your father?
No, he doesn't own it.
I don't own it. So my father passed,
Are you going to need a mic? Because I can't hear you.
sorry. My father passed 3 years ago,
Oh, okay.
so
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any additional questions for Craig? No?
Thank you.
Okay. All right, at this point, we would like to open this meeting up to the public within 200 feet. Or anyone beyond 200 feet, which doesn't look like there is anyone here. Okay, so we would be officially closed to the public. And Rich, I guess we'd wait for you to clue us in on a motion to be made.
All right, so we're going to vote first on the application generally as it appears in on the record and in Craig's report and on the plans. Then after that, we're going to vote about this order of things and the letter of credit and all that stuff. So we'll do that second. So the first
Rich,
motion,
just because one's a D2 variance and the other is a bulk variance,
right?
so are we going to do a vote, separate vote on each one because?
No,
Okay.
because I assume you want the benefits of all of, everything you've said, you want that to weigh in on the C2, right? Or the D2?
I mean, the subdivision which creates the D2 variance is different than the front, just to add
So,
on to
so,
the
so-
front.
so if we approve that, if we approve the subdivision, or let's say we vote against the subdivision, but we approve, you want to vote on which C2 variances? There's like 15 of them.
The one for the front porch. The front porch on proposed lot 3.01.
You want us to vote on that separately?
I think it's a different voting. I mean, it's,
Theoretically, they could come in here and just ask for that without any subdivision, and it wouldn't affect anything subdivision related.
Okay,
But if we start with, if we approve the subdivision, then he can go ahead with the subdivision without putting the parking lot in.
No, the variance, possibly he could do that unless you made that a condition of approval.
Yeah, I'd like to see that as a condition of approval, that this gets taken care of.
But also,
Temporary stairs. in
can
there,
we just
stuff like
vote
that.
on it all together, and if you lose, I'll revisit it, but I mean, it doesn't make sense.
I'm fine
Everybody
with that.
presents everything for the benefits, and they're giving this, like, you got to consider the entire application as a whole, and then they give all these benefits and how great the whole thing is, and there's parking and this and that. And then they said, well, we'll vote on them separately. Well,
You're okay.
no, I mean, you put the whole thing in together. If you want to do two separate presentations, then do them. But I'm not going to, like, if you lose the big vote, I'll vote just on the porch, okay? Let's just try to do everything all in one
That's fine.
collective thing like I do it every time. And if something goes sideways, I'll deal with it, okay?
The only
So-
question is because it's a D2 variance.
I understand that.
Okay.
I understand that. But you want us to consider the fact that there's a porch and considering whether or not it's a good D2 variance, right? I mean, right?
Okay.
So let's do everything as a whole, because it wasn't presented separately.
Thank
So
you.
let's just, we'll do it as a whole, and if they find that this property can't accommodate making one lot bigger and the other smaller for a shared parking lot, then I'll deal with the consequences of that vote.
Okay.
But for now, we're voting whether or not, we're voting on everything as a whole. Does anybody have any concerns about voting on the porch and the overall project together? Does anybody have any concerns about that? Yes.
I'm a little concerned that they will approve the porch and won't get the parking lot done.
Right, so
since it's
you'd
been
rather
10
it all be
years.
done together then? Right? So you're concerned, you wanted to do it the way I'm suggesting?
Yeah.
Okay, does anybody not want to do it the way I'm suggesting? Does
Rich,
anybody-
question of clarification.
Does anybody plan on voting no on the subdivision issue because of the porch? That's the question. No, so let's just do the whole thing together. There's no need to complicate this.
I have a problem with it. I want to make sure that the parking lot,
Right.
We're doing the timing thing second. I can't be clear about that. We're going to vote on this application like we do every time. I'm going to read all the things they're asking for, and then you're going to vote your conscience on that. And then after we do that, we're going to revisit the timing and performance guarantee issue in a separate vote and a separate conversation.
That's a condition.
Okay?
there's, okay.
Okay.
So as long as that's,
Question I'm asking, I was then asked to try to parse out the porch from the whole thing, and now we've spent 10 minutes talking about that, and it probably would have been approved by now. So let's just vote on it and get it done. The motion I recommend being made, but how you vote is up to you, is a motion to grant minor subdivision approval with the associated hardship, substantial benefit, and use variances as outlined by the board engineer with the waivers and conditions outlined by the board engineer, with the variances listed on pages 3, 4, and 5, with the change in the chart to include the side yard for the shed on lot 5. That motion requires a vote of 5 out of 7 because in the most technical sense, it is theoretically an expansion of a non-conforming use in that they're making the lot, did you say 5 smaller?
Lot 5.
Lot 5.02, future 5.02 smaller. So that, in theory, creates a D2 variance. So it requires 5 out of 7 to pass. And this includes the porch. And as I said, if something goes wrong, we'll vote on the porch again separately. Does anybody, that's the motion I recommend being made. How you vote is up to you. Someone make that motion?
Make the motion?
Second.
Ms. Sheehan motions, Mrs. Notch seconds. Mr. Ledwin.
Yes.
Mrs. Notch.
Yes.
Ms. Sheehan.
Yes.
Mr. Walsh.
Yes.
Mr. Zexer.
Yes.
Mr. Yeager.
Yes.
Mr. Venuto.
Yes.
Okay, that included the condition as outlined by your board engineer regarding having the site improvements improved before the project, before the front porch, the porch is done. But the applicant has requested to alter that condition that you just imposed. What they are proposing is a letter of credit and a promise that it'll be done within 9 months, the porch itself. Strike that, the parking lot. The parking lot will be done within 9 months, and there'll be a letter of credit in an amount acceptable to the board engineer to make sure that is done. They're asking for that so that they can complete the front porch, which will give them access to the home that they don't presently enjoy. So they want to be able to do that ahead of the site improvements. If they don't do the improvements within the 9 months, then that letter of credit is the board. I don't know exactly how it works, but Craig does some maneuvering that gets the money so that the town can then build the parking lot at whatever expense they deem appropriate, and they can do the work instead of the homeowner and make it be done. And I'm sure Craig will set that number at a number that will be commensurate with our need to do it quickly and by a reliable contractor. So it'll be in the applicant's interest to get it done timely. That's what they're requesting. How you vote on that is up to you. I understand the things that concern you and the history, but you have to weigh all that in your decision-making, okay? So that's the motion. The motion is to alter the prior condition and do the condition in the manner I just outlined with the letter of credit. If you vote yes, then you're going to do it the way the applicant's requesting. If you do it no, then you're going to do it the way Craig initially put in his report. Craig, are you expressing a strong opinion either way? You're just leaving it to the board's discretion?
No, I think it's at the board's discretion. I think at the end of the day, with either one of these two scenarios, we'll get that parking lot done within a reasonable amount of time.
That's, the board will decide if it's a reasonable amount of time. That's their decision, okay?
I just want clarifying question.
Yes, ma'am.
What he wants to put on the stairs and the door is something that he removed, correct?
That was my understanding.
Okay, I just want to make sure that's what I had heard.
He removed it thinking he didn't need a variance, and then he realized that he did because of the lot averaging stuff, so now he's kind of stuck in the middle with.
But he didn't have a permit either.
I don't think he got were you ever issued a permit at all for replacing the porch?
No, there was no permit. There was no permit issued.
Right. If you read the letter from the zoning officer.
We got the testimony in the record. Well, then you'll vote your conscience on that. I expressed no opinion. They've asked. You're invited to do that. If someone makes that motion, then it's made and they get seconded, then you vote. But that's up to you. I know.
Is there a defined amount for the letter of credit? How much are we asking for?
That's a performance guarantee review that I will do with consistent pricing based on 2026 pricing,
Okay. It's
not 2014 pricing that was done originally.
that, okay. I mean, I'm assuming it's significant. It's not a small amount of money, which we need some
It's enough
incentive.
to motivate someone to finish. it.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
All right, someone has to make the motion. No one has to make the motion, but in order to vote on it, there needs to be a motion and a second. I don't make motions. I just kind of set forth what they are, so it's clear in the record.
Would someone like to make the motion?
This vote's a simple majority, not your use.
Correct.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Walsh motions, Mr. Zexer seconds. Mr. Ledwin.
No.
Mrs. Notch.
Yes.
Ms. Sheehan.
No?
Mr. Walsh.
No.
Mr. Zexer.
Yes.
Mr. Yeager.
Yes.
Mr. Venuto.
Yes.
Okay, that passes 4-3, so.
Thank you.
They have to. They're putting up a letter of credit. That's what we just voted on. Oh, you mean for the steps? Right. Yeah. I think they have to do it right away.
You and me.
The impression I had was that.
Sorry, we're out of order. Come on up. Sorry.
Right.
I was thinking I was on the other. We're up.
He was okay with
Yes. Okay.
He was okay with switching, so
Before they can start,
do this one.
before they can pull a building.
We moved it out
They
of
have
order.
not pulled the building. Right.
So, yeah, we'll get it going. They have to start that up before they get permission to do the steps.
Laser, yes.
Yes.
All set?
Almost. We're recovering from the last one. Hold on.
I'm gonna have to read about that.
Power bar.
Karen, are you okay? Okay. All right, we need more time.
30 seconds. I just gotta do that second vote.
Is it for the other Terry Street one?
Go ahead, do your thing.
Okay. So our next application tonight is Christine Carlson Glazer, 107 Ocean Street.
All set. Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. Andrew Catanese of the Monzo Catanese Delalis Law Firm on behalf of Christine Carlson Glazer, along with our project planner and architect, John Halbruner. In this application involving the property at 107 Ocean Street, we present a site that has an existing four-unit multifamily structure. There are a number of nonconformities on the site. Particularly relevant are the density. We have 4 units on site, and that lot only measures about 4,000 square feet, and of course, the resulting shortfall in off-street parking. Ms. Carlson Glazer proposes to convert the home to a single-family dwelling. And to be clear, the proposed use, that is, single-family homes, are permitted in the applicable RS zoning district. And the change will improve a number of conformities, not the least of which is that density and the parking I talked about. However, you may be familiar, and I know you've seen some of these applications before, where multifamily structures in this zone are allowed to have 75% lot coverage, whereas single-family homes are only allowed to have 45% lot coverage. So although nothing is changing on site, the change in use changes the standard applicable to the site, and therefore we're requesting a variance for the lot coverage on site. That being said, there are some other nonconformities. They're not changing, and for the most part, those will be improving. So with that, the extent of this application is extremely limited. We will keep our presentation brief. Ms. Carlson Glazer is with me for any questions, but we'll turn it over to Mr. Halbruner. We'll ask that he be sworn and recognized in his disciplines of engineering and architecture, and we'll have him go over the plan. We'll try to keep it brief.
Our board engineer remains under oath. Mr. Halbruner, Mr. Kenny, you may have said this and I was zoned out typing. Is your client going to testify?
Only if you have questions.
All right, we're going to swear you just in case they ask you a question, okay? Raise your right hand. Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. I know Mr. Halbruner's been before the board many times. We offer him as an expert, and John, if you'd like to give an overview, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, we're dealing with 107 Ocean Street. We are a lot in the RS, the Residential Seasonal Zoning District, and it's currently developed with a 4-unit multifamily dwelling. We're proposing to simply change that to a single-family use with no physical improvements inside or outside the building. Simple change of use. The existing building is an historic structure, originally built in, 1888. It's a 2.5-story dwelling. And again, the footprint and envelope will remain unchanged by this application. In terms of existing site conditions, we have a 4,015 square foot lot area. We have 50-foot of frontage on Ocean Street. We have approximately 80.3 feet of depth. The property is developed with a dwelling with covered porches, pavers, driveway, parking area, walkways, landscaping, fencing, utilities, typical residential accommodations. It provides 2 off-street parking spaces, and interestingly, it's not often I can say this, it's in a flood hazard zone at elevation 8, but the finished floor is at 12.1. We're fully conforming. Now, skipping again very quickly to the proposed conditions, they're exactly the same. We're changing nothing. No physical improvements. The effect of the use change, though, was kind of unusual, as Mr. Catanese mentioned in his opening statements. The bulk requirements in the zone differ based upon the use. And while most of the bulk requirements are less stringent for single-family use than they are for multifamily, one is not, lot coverage. You're actually allowed less lot coverage for a single family than you are for a multifamily. So we're here seeking relief from that. One quick note regarding parking. You heard me mention we're providing 2 parking spaces today. The current configuration as a 4-unit multifamily dwelling has a parking demand of 7 parking spaces. 2 are provided. And the proposed conditions going to single-family use, suddenly that demand gets reduced from 7 to 3.
How do you know that? Well, I don't know how big our family is.
Your regulatory standard is residential site improvement standards.
Okay, can you explain what that means? Go ahead. Oh, sorry. Can you explain what you're just
Parking
explaining
demand
to
by
me?
your ordinance is defined not by how many family members someone has. It's based upon, in the case of a single-family home or even multifamily home, the number of units or the number of bedrooms.
Bedrooms, I get that.
Okay, so as a 4-unit building,
5 bedrooms.
I'm sorry?
Good.
As a 4-unit building, the residential site improvement standards would require 7 parking spaces.
Salvador, to reconcile the 2 positions here, you use the word demand. It demands less parking. And I think my colleague here is quibbling with whether or not it really would demand more or less parking. But what you're saying is the required parking is less under the proposed use than the required parking would be under the current use.
Thank you for that clarification.
And it doesn't focus on whether or not really this big single-family house is going to have 400 cars there from all their guests there. That may be the case, but that's not what our ordinance looks at, right?
That's absolutely correct. Thank you for that
So
clarification.
now you're speaking the same language. But you'll also point out that it can be stacked kind of parking over there, right? And it's easier to do that with a single family than with a 4-unit. Are these 2 things side by side, or are they like this?
They're 2 side by side.
Oh, they are
They're
side by
not
side? It's
stacked.
not
That's
deep?
correct.
On the picture, I thought it was the other thing. All right, well,
They're 2 side
You
by
don't
side.
have that going for you, what can I tell you?
Okay, so again, there are a number of non-conforming conditions, most of which we're making better, but still require variance by virtue of the change in use. And with that, to indulge me, I want to go directly to the variances that this application requires.
Can I ask a question before you get into that?
Absolutely.
In reviewing this application, I couldn't get my hands around the fact that you have 4 units in there. So there's 4 separate kitchens, and you're saying that there's no internal improvements. Explain how 4 kitchens are going.
There are not 4 kitchens. There's
May I-
1 kitchen.
May I?
Okay, this is what I would like to hear.
This is why we
Okay.
throw you in. We know
Yeah.
this happens all the time.
I know I'm most familiar with the interior, so
I'm sure you
so I
are.
will take that
Enlighten
one.
us, please.
So when we purchased the property in 2021, it was zoned as a 4-unit multifamily. In looking at the history of the home, it was turned into an apartment building after World War II and operated as a 4-unit apartment building. At some point in time, the Queen Victoria acquired the building and used it as an ancillary building to the bed and breakfast. I don't know why your records weren't changed or what didn't happen, but it was before my time. I have a kitchenette on the first floor, which has nothing to cook with. There's a refrigerator. They used it as a wet bar. There's a sink. and a couple of cabinets. The main kitchen, so I'll be back to talk to you another time, is on the second floor and remains on the second floor. I've done nothing to move any walls or structures, but so it has like a kitchenette on the first floor, but everything's opened up, whereas they had doors separating some of the rooms. We've taken some of those doors off or keep them open.
And to be clear, we submitted, looking at the architectural plans, the existing conditions, and seeing the layout, having the same question myself, I included with the package the certificate of zoning compliance that Ms. Carlson Glazer received when she purchased the home in 2021, confirming that in the city's records, and as far as zoning is confirmed, this is 4-unit multifamily. So that's what we start with, and
Yeah,
that's what
that's
we're.
important. I just couldn't figure out how we were going from 4 units with,
Yeah, Frank. You said you'll be back. I'm not clear why you would be, in the sense that if you get, like, suppose we say yes tonight, and then in 3 years from now, you want to move your kitchen to the first floor and this and that.
You don't need to come back.
You think that would, I mean, I don't, it's a conforming use. You're just changing stuff around
Then I won't
inside.
be back, but if you want to
Well,
see the plan.
I'm trying to save you a few $1,000s. I mean, cat needs something cheap, you know what I
Zoning
mean?
officer and the construction office will see
Yeah.
it, but we're gonna.
At some point, we will want to, 'cause
Okay, that's
as you can imagine, being used as an apartment or a bed and breakfast, the configuration doesn't flow like a single-family home would, you'd want it to, but we're not tackling that now. I just want the paperwork to match how we're going to use it is really what tonight's about.
understood. I-
Sorry?
Not as a bed and breakfast, but as a single home.
Correct.
Okay, we good?
Yes.
Okay, yep. Okay, the first variance we're going to talk about is lot area. The existing lot area is 4,015 square feet. In the existing condition as a 4-unit multifamily dwelling, that lot area would be required to be 12,500 square feet, grossly deficient in the existing condition. As a single-family home, that lot area required gets cut in half. 6,250 square feet is required, but we still have the same not compliant 4,015 square feet. So we require a variance to maintain a lot area of 4,015 square feet, where for our proposed use, 6,000 would be required. Again, notably, it's actually a made more conforming condition because the required lot area under the present use is twice that of that required for a single family. The next variance we required is a front yard or building setback where 20 feet would be required, and in the existing conditions, it's 3.67 feet measured to the front step. Now, this is a condition that is required to be 20 feet under both uses, and the existing condition remains unchanged by the application, so it's a non-conforming condition that we are looking to continue. As a point of testimony, the 1888 structure is already located within the front setback. It does not move it any closer to Ocean Street, and no new front yard impact is created by the application. In a very similar vein, we have a rear yard setback variance relief required, where the zone requires 25 feet in both the multifamily and the single-family condition. So 25 feet is required, 3.69 feet exist. And again, that's something that has existed for a prolonged period of time. We're not exasperating it in any way. We're simply looking to continue it. The next variance that we require is a side yard setback variance. This is one where the degree of conformity becomes better, but not fully conforming. In the current use as a multifamily dwelling, 10-foot minimum side yard setbacks are required. 0.76 feet exist. As a single-family home, that required setback goes down from 10 feet to 8 feet. But again, we remain at 0.76 feet, still deficient from that minimum requirement. So we're improving the degree of nonconformity, but we remain non-compliant. The next variance I'm going to talk about is the only one that's actually newly created as a result of this change in use, and that is the lot coverage. As a multifamily dwelling, the lot is allowed to have 75% of its area covered by surfaces. Today, 71% lot coverage exists. Convert this now to a single-family home, 45% lot coverage is permitted. So the degree of nonconformity for lot coverage actually goes up But let's remember, it goes up not because we're increasing coverage anywhere, not we're changing anything. It's simply the regulatory threshold changed by virtue of the change in use. And the last one we'll talk about is the number of parking spaces. I'll be sure not to use the word parking demand. The parking requirements by ordinance under the current condition as a multifamily, 4-unit multifamily building would be 7 parking spaces required by regulation. 2 exist. By converting it to the single-family home, your ordinance requires the number of spaces to be a minimum of 3, where again, the same 2 parking spaces exist. So the degree of nonconformity is significantly reduced. Again, no physical changes, no physical improvements. Now, there are a number of conditions that are nonconforming today that we're either improving or eliminating the degree of nonconformity. Again, lot area was made more conforming. Sorry, get the lot width and lot frontage, 2 separate items, but they're both the same number. As a multifamily dwelling, you're supposed to have a minimum lot width and frontage of 100 feet. What we have is 50 feet. Lo and behold, the requirement for a single-family home is 50 feet. So we're taking a non-conforming condition in terms of lot width and frontage and making it conforming. The lot area deviation is made more conforming, the side yard deviation is made more conforming, and the parking deficiency is made more conforming. So to kind of frame the overall application here, it's an unusual variance application because no physical improvements are proposed. No alterations interior or exterior are proposed, but the variance exists because the existing 1888 structure predates modern zoning standards. The existing multifamily standard and proposed single-family standards in your ordinance differ, and some existing non-conforming conditions will remain non-conforming. As I mentioned, some non-conforming conditions are actually improved or eliminated. Only one new variance, that relating to lot coverage, is created as a result of the change, but again, the physical conditions do not worsen. Any questions about that before I dive into the proofs for the variances? Okay. These variances are solidly grounded under C1, but I'll also be able to demonstrate a lot of the C2 criteria. So I'll take the C1 and C2, both positive criteria in turn. The negative criteria will apply to both, so I'll do that for brevity at the end. Under C1, the hardship is created by the existing lot size, the existing historic structure, the existing building location, the existing site configuration, and the application of the current single-family standards to a lawfully existing property condition. Specifically, the lot is 4,015 square feet, where 6,250 square feet is required. The existing front yard setback is 3.67 feet, where 20 feet is required. The existing rear yard setback is 3.69 feet, where 25 feet is required. And the existing side setback is 0.76 feet, where 8 feet is required. And the existing lot coverage is 71%, where 45% is permitted under the proposed single-family standard. The existing parking space, 2 parking spaces provided, where 3 is required for the proposed single-family use. In terms of practical difficulty, strict compliance with any of those requirements would require physical alteration, reduction, or reconfiguration of this historic building site. The result is unreasonable where the applicant proposes no construction and no increased physical impact. The applicant is simply seeking to use the property for a permitted single-family use. And as Mr. Cantonese mentioned in his opening statement, I should have early on, the single-family use is in fact the permitted use in the zone. So in conclusion, the existing lot and structure create an exceptional situation that affects the property, and the relief is appropriate to permit the permitted use without requiring unnecessary alteration of the historic building or site. Flipping now to the C2 criteria, where I'll be able to demonstrate that the benefits of the relief will outweigh the detriments. I'll first start by noting several purposes of the municipal land use law that are advanced by the application. And I'll start with the purpose under subparagraph A, which is to encourage the use and development of a land which promotes the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare. This application does so by allowing a less intensive residential use with no physical development. This conversion promotes the general welfare by reducing the operational intensity of the property. Subparagraph E, which is the purpose to promote appropriate population densities and concentrations. Again, we're taking the density of this down from 4 units to 1. Subparagraph I, which promotes a desirable visual environment. By preserving the existing building, the driveway condition, the streetscape, and the site arrangement, we are preserving a very integral part of the historic fabric of the neighborhood. And subparagraph J, which is promote the conservation of historic sites and districts. And again, we're proposing to maintain the existing historic configuration in its entirety. So those are purposes of the municipal land use law that are being advanced by the application. And to kind of wrap up the discussion about these benefits, because some go beyond those purposes. We're converting the property to a permitted single-family dwelling, reducing the intensity from 4 dwelling units to 1, reducing the parking requirements from 7 to 3. We're making non-conforming lot width and frontage conforming. We are maintaining the existing side yard and rear yard deviations with no increase in the intensity. We are preserving the 1888 historic structure and the site configuration, avoiding any new site disturbance, any new impervious coverage, or any expansion of the existing physical nonconformities. And we're maintaining the streetscape and historic district character. Those, I believe, are all the positive aspects of the application. Flipping now to the negative. First of all, I see no physical detriment. Again, there's no increase in building mass, no increase in height, no increase in lot coverage, no increase in floor area, any of the things that might normally be associated with the variance relief that we're seeking this evening. There is no physical impact on the neighboring properties. There is no worsening to the parking demand. All the things, the intensities that you would normally seek when we need a parking variance, we need a lot area variance, none of these things are being increased or exasperated, so there cannot be any substantial detriment to the public good. And for the very same reason, there could be no substantial impairment to the zone plan. So for those reasons, I believe both the positive criteria under C1 and C2 have been presented, and the negative criteria is satisfied for both, and I believe the variances could be granted.
That's our presentation.
Okay. Any questions from the board? So let's go ahead with Craig's.
I do have it's more of a comment or question for the applicant, and it relates to one of the comments in my report. During my normal course of reviewing these applications, because of the importance of parking in the city, I always evaluate to make sure, to see if we can provide compliant parking on site. In this case, it looks like you could deepen the parking and provide compliant parking. However, there's some trade-offs there. I think, one, if you start doing those improvements in the front yard, the HPC would probably comment and say, you need to provide all parking back behind the face of the structure. So we would be pushing the existing 2 spaces back further and then providing 3 spaces. They're already over on lot coverage. So is the importance of parking that important that we're going to deviate from lot coverage standards? Or is the reliance on the fact that they're reducing the parking demand at this site for this use from the change of use carry the day? Does that make sense to you?
Isn't there still the notion that it's the owner's property though? Like, can't they do that way? Like, if they wanted to have more parking, they would figure out a way to have more parking. And if they wanted to sacrifice it, they would, like, don't they weigh that? Like, why would they want to have less parking on their property?
I think the board weighs that as part of the parking, granting the
I'm
parking.
not saying they
variance.
can't, I'm just saying.
Right.
I don't
So
know.
I just, in the normal course of action, I would just say, yes, you should provide compliant parking. Why are we granting the parking variance? But then we're driving a lot coverage variance way higher. We're involving the HPC, probably telling them to push parking back, even driving the lot coverage even higher. So the benefit of changing the use and reducing the parking demand from 7 to 3 on site might alleviate that recommendation, or not necessitate that recommendation. So,
One more mitigating factor, if I could add to that, is this site is beautifully landscaped, even with the parking in the front. At the end of the parking is an arbor with beautiful landscaping. That's what the public sees. If we were to push the parking back, we're going to lose that effect of the streetscape of the public, and you're going to see, 40 foot of driveway instead? That does absolutely nothing to the historic fabric of that neighborhood.
Yeah, apart from the sort of the short answers of Ms. Carlson Glazer isn't proposing any changes to the site, and that the application we feel really stands on its own because the benefits are just overwhelming. When we thought about, when we think about going to the HPC and talking about reconfiguring parking in the front yard, creating more parking, and as John said, removing some of that green space on what's really a pretty lovely layout when you look at this house, it just never came into our mind.
it's understood. It's just a normal recommendation. It's in my report, and I wanted to discuss that with the applicant because there are some unique circumstances to this application, so.
Yeah, if I may, I have spent a lot of time looking at that side yard. And if anybody ever walks by that property, the wraparound porch and the structure there, if the cars went in further, they'd have to go in the middle of the space that we currently have because we have 3 large white locust trees along the right property line. So while you could put a car in there, you wouldn't be able to open a door. On the left side, if you expanded it forward, you would hit the porch with your driver's side door or any door on that side. So the only way to get more parking is to eliminate the 2 in the front, I think, and run them all down the center, unless we wanted to talk to Shade Tree about taking the trees down. I mean, it just is a whole slippery slope.
I get the sense that the board does not want to see you increase the parking on site. Is that?
Yeah.
So but I just wanted to explain my rationale. We do evaluate that as part of this review.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, I'll summarize the rest of my review. March 31, 2026, this is an application for the C variances. Mr. Halbruner has detailed those quite well. I'm going to talk about my completeness review on page 205. There are 2 waivers that are required from the checklist requirements. Item number 28 and item number 33. Based on the nature of this application, I supported both and did recommend deeming the application complete. I agreed with Mr. Halbruner's testimony. There is a variance necessary from lot size. 6,250 square feet is required where 4,015 square foot exists. The building setback line from Ocean Street has a 20-foot requirement where 3.67 feet is proposed and exists. The rear yard setback of 25 feet where 3.69 feet exists. Now, once again, I've explained this to the board. Our Vulcan area requirements are based on the use and not the zone. So the use within the zone. So the menu changes when we change use. So Mr. Halbruner did a great job of explaining how the menu changed and affects this property. The side yard setback actually became a little less stringent. That's correct, right? It went from a 10-foot setback to an 8-foot setback requirement. So in this case, it's still not conforming at 0.76 on the one side. However, that requirement changed, and that's just an example. The lot coverage is what most applicants struggle with, going from a multi-family use to a single-family use, because the lot coverage goes from 75% down to 45%. So they're existing at 71%, which is conforming, but once you change your use, they're non-conforming. So that's really the only variance that's really being triggered by this application that doesn't have any improvements on it. And then finally, the parking we just talked about, they're proposing 2 spaces where 3 are required. So that's a summary of the variances. My general review comments should be conditions of approval. Item 1, I already talked about with the applicant. Item 2 is our standard requirement that they comply with the flood damage protection code. However, there's no construction proposed, so I don't know that's even required at this point. 3, I already discussed with them, is the compliant parking. 4 is our standard condition that they should revise the zoning table per my report. 5 is a standard requirement that we will evaluate the sidewalk post-construction, but we're going to do that before you get a CO for your single family. Finally, items 6 through 11 are standard conditions, and I will talk about the reports that we received from the fire department. They recommended approval with no conditions. 6/5/26 was the date. Public Works recommended approval with no comments. 6/12/26 was that date. Shade Tree Commission recommended approval with the following conditions, and they talk about the 3 large locusts that you just mentioned, and they want to make sure that they're preserved. I don't think there's any problem since we don't have any improvements, and therefore that would be the 3 reports. And I'm happy to answer any questions the board has at this point.
If there's no questions from the board, I'd like to open it up to public within 200 feet. With beyond 200 feet. Okay, we'll close it to the public.
Okay, the motion I recommend being made, but how you vote is up to you. You'll be voting on the C1 and C2 standards as presented by Mr. Halberner. Is a motion to grant the variances 1 through 7 on page 3 of the report dated March 31st, 2026, subject to the conditions outlined by the board engineer on 1 through 11. And that's the motion I recommend being made, but how you vote is up to you. This was a simple majority.
Okay. Can we
I'll
have
make
that
the motion.
Second.
Mr. Zexer motions, Mr. Lewin seconds. Mr. Lewin?
Yes.
Mrs. Notch?
Yes.
Ms. Sheehan?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Zexer?
Yes.
Mr. Venuto?
Yes.
Mrs. Werner?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You do not break any records.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Our next application is 420 Perry Street LLC, and I am recusing myself since I am within 200 feet.
Okay. I see.
Have fun. Yeah, I know.
Good night.
All right. Okay, you may begin.
Thank you, Mr.
Introduce-
Rudo. Again, for the record, I'm Andrew Catanese of the Monzo Catanese DeLawless Law Firm on behalf of the applicant. In this case, Gino and Terry Ciancolini. Ms. Ciancolini is here, along with our project engineer, Andy Schaefer. This property at 420 West Perry Street is located in the R2 zoning district. It is currently developed with a duplex. Now, duplexes are non-conforming uses in the R2 zone. The R2 only permits single-family homes, I should say. In this case, the applicants simply want to do 2 things: replace what was a shed, and number 2, reconfigure their parking and frankly improve it substantially. However, doing those things was determined by the zoning office to be an expansion of the existing non-conforming duplex use. That triggered a D2 application. It's again, expansion of a non-conforming use. The outcome of it, however, is positive. There will be an increase in the parking spaces, as well as parking that is better configured. Mr. Schaefer will go over those in more detail. The other substantial improvement is a reduction in the impervious coverage from the non-conforming 48% down to a conforming 39%. Overall, the variance relief that is being requested is relatively minor. We believe it's more than outweighed by the benefits. And with that, if we can have Mr. Schaefer sworn, I know he's been before this board before. We offer him as an expert in engineering and planning.
Mr. Schaefer, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. If you would, go over existing and then proposed site conditions and
Certainly.
talk about the benefits.
So it's an existing house, and the history is fairly important here. and that it was purchased by the applicant in 1995 as a dilapidated, actually condemned structure, a side-by-side duplex, apparently legal at that point in time. It has been renovated and converted to an over-under duplex in the same footprint that it was built before. So the existing nonconforming variances I'm going to talk about shortly were existing nonconformities from 1995 that we know of. The other is the use itself, because we are replacing the shed, and that was determined to be an expansion of a nonconforming use. And that and adding a parking area is the extent of the development that is proposed. So to the parking area, there is a parking area we are wanting to develop in the rear, utilizing the existing driveway, which extends past the front of the house. So there will be no visual change to the front of the house whatsoever. And then there are fences along the backyard to block the view of the shed we're replacing with a new factory-built shed.
Andy, the existing parking layout is just a single car wide driveway down the right side. Could you show the board on the plans roughly where that existing driveway
So
ends?
the existing brick driveway, a paver driveway, I'm showing right here, and we would like to propose to extend it further back, add 4 spaces, a turnaround area, and then come back. Now, one important feature is this parking lot will be made of grass pavers. And with removing and changing shed size and removing some concrete, we're actually taking an existing nonconformity of lot coverage of 48% down to 39%. So actually, one of the nonconformities is going to be going away as a process of what we're doing here.
So to be clear, right now, you've got a duplex, or the Giancolinis have a duplex with stacked parking, which in and of itself is sort of problematic, isn't it?
Absolutely. So that means most people will be parking on the street. And that's one of the other benefits, and again, I'm jumping ahead, is that the parking we're providing or proposing to provide would free up at least 2 spaces on the street, generally speaking.
And on top of that, right now, cars that do pull into the driveway, they need to then back out onto West Perry, which isn't good for anyone.
That's correct. So they need to back out onto West Perry, and I'll recover this again. We are providing this K-turn area back here, so when you back out, you can back out into here and pull out on the West Perry forward, not backing out.
And in doing so, does that improve safety for everyone, not only the Giancolinis and their guests, but for passersby, everyone?
Yes, it is, and I forgot to list it as one of my special reasons coming up.
Got it. All right, sorry, I jumped ahead.
That's all right.
Didn't I? Okay.
Can I ask, is this the proposed plot plan that was part of the application, not an exhibit?
Correct. This is
Okay.
this is the same that was submitted with the application.
That's correct.
Thank you. Just wanted to verify. Thanks.
Part of the record. Additionally, the relocation of these spaces behind the house, as opposed to down the driveway, is consistent with the HPC design standards, which always want houses or cars tucked behind the home.
That is correct, and I also believe we already have HPC approval
Thank you.
with the configuration that we provide.
Great. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
It's okay. It's okay. Moving on, the D2 variance is a slight expansion to the existing nonconformity. It does not change the intensity of use. So, but going back to the special reason, I'll limit it to 1 so we can move along. And that would be under 40:55D2G to provide sufficient space in appropriate locations for a variety of all the different uses that normally get listed there. And this, I believe, is in a very appropriate use. And one of the special reasons, this is cited from special reason from common sense, is this shed would provide storage for bicycles and other outdoor equipment that they don't currently have. So it's going to be an aesthetic improvement as well as a public safety, the 2 other reasons I didn't put on the record in terms of special reasons, but they really do exist. And again, coming back to the benefits associated with this approval of the expansion of a nonconforming use, the proposal does not increase density or intensity of use. And in fact, it may reduce intensity of use by removing some of the parking demand for the street. It does create 4 parking spaces. It does eliminate a coverage variance that right now the site coverage is greater than what's allowed. HPC found no detriment to it. And as I said before, it lessens the chance of recreational equipment being stored outside where it can be seen. So in my opinion, there are, in terms of negative criteria, there are none of any consequence, and they're all positive in every way possible by providing parking and reducing the impervious coverage. In regards to the C2 variances, they're all existing nonconformities, -1 being the coverage. And just to quickly summarize them, we're asking for a lot size of 6,900 square feet where 7,500 is required. We're requesting a variance from front setback of an existing 18.4 feet where 25 feet is required. We're asking for a variance for, I'll put these together, lot width and lot frontage of 46 feet where 60 feet is required. And then last, we don't need a side yard variance for the setback itself on either side. It's the combination of the two, which in the ordinance requires a summation of those two side setbacks. And we are providing 14.9 feet existing where 15 feet is required. And again, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but we are providing reduction in impervious coverage by use of the grass pavers to a compliant amount of site coverage.
Andy, no changes to the building. So all those variances you just talked about, they're just all existing conditions.
They're all existing nonconformities.
The shed itself will comply in all respects?
The shed itself will comply in all respects, yes.
Thank you. And I know you mentioned briefly some of the standards under the purposes under D2. Certainly promoting the general welfare by improving the safety of cars not backing out onto West Perry, that would apply, would it not?
That's absolutely applies, yes.
And to the extent that the HPC design standards want cars back hidden behind the home, does this not promote historic districts and the HPC's goals?
Clearly it does, yes.
You already indicated, I think, briefly that there was no real impact of this. In your opinion, can this application be approved without substantial impairment of the zoning ordinance or zone plan or substantial detriment to the public good?
In my opinion, there is no detriment to the zone plan, master plan, or the ordinance.
Okay. We could go on, but I think we could stop here. And I think the best thing for us to do is just answer questions if you have any.
I have a question. Are these all the neighbors that were notified of?
There were two different mailings that went out.
Okay.
We had two different lists, and we messed that up the first time.
That's what I
We
thought,
sent
yeah.
notices the first time to Cape May. We missed the list across the street for West Cape May. So we did a supplemental mailing. We submitted a supplemental affidavit to Ms. Keenan.
Okay, because I still don't see Cape Hart Lane listed on here for any people that are notified, and this house like backs right up to it.
Oh, sorry. We received a list from the tax office that was submitted with your packages. We realized that they missed some properties. We got a new list from the city of Cape May that we used and is attached to the affidavit of service that Ms. Keenan has. Then there was the additional issue of not having West Cape May on it. So we had a couple of notice issues, but your point's well taken. You picked up on something. We all picked up on it as well beforehand. Ms. Keenan has the right one.
Okay.
Yours is not the list that was served. There was a later one.
Just in the future, if anybody has a question about the notice, please do that at the very beginning. Because if the answer to that question wasn't to your satisfaction, we just wasted 20 minutes of our life, or next time it could be 3 hours of our life.
Well, I actually just saw it when I was.
I don't mind you asking. It's a great question. I am just suggesting for everyone that notice issues, please, let's all address those at the very outset so that if there's a problem, we just kind of start over another day.
No, thank you for raising it. We fortunately picked it up.
I remember that. That was a couple weeks ago. I remember.
Yes.
So, and I can verify there are some properties on Cape Hart, but we check to make sure that every member who's present is not on the list, is outside the 200 feet.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't what I was thinking.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that people were notified, since
Thank you.
they're within that 200 feet.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I don't have any questions. I'd just like to make sort of a statement. I have no problem with the shed, but this is turning this yard into a parking lot. I mean, we're supposed to be stewards of light air and open space too. Any one of these neighbors will look out and see 4 or 5 possible cars in this yard. These are very small yards. I just don't see how this would work.
Well, for our part, we're looking at all the things that advances under the four corners of the code, right? To bring that impervious number down within the code, to satisfy the HPC, parking on a duplex lot with an existing non-conforming frontage, and particularly where, again, stacked parking for a duplex is a real issue. Because in truth, we've said there's two spaces there, but they could only serve one unit under the residential site improvement standards, because two different units can't,
Why don't you let Craig just talk about that?
This was
Rather
a-
than Abby, let Craig.
When they initially submitted this application, that parking lot was not on there. I recommended that they provide it. They were initially deemed incomplete. Because of the safety factors on West Perry Street, I recommended that they put it in. I believe that they've done it in a very environmentally friendly way. This is not the grass pavers the blocks with the grass growing up through them. This is actually a geo fabric that's rolled out and you put sod on top of it.
They will have to mow their driveway.
Yeah, so it will look like a lawn.
It's not, I understand all that. It's just the fact that there's now going to be 4 cars behind this house. And there's no yard. There's literally no yard.
Is there 3 parking spaces or 4?
4, and then there's a turnaround space, so,
Okay.
I mean, the yard is gone.
I think you're
I
asking,
understand your concern, but like typically, I think the theme tonight was improving parking and circulation and access to West Perry Street. In this case, I think that carries the day for me personally, but you get to weigh it, appropriately.
It may not be ideal for every street and every situation, but it's a non-conforming use. It's a duplex. 2 unrelated people can live there and park on the side of a building with insufficient parking on a busy street. So if you're going to ever have a parking lot in the back of a house, this might be the one to do it. Now, if somebody comes in the middle of Grant, well, there's a bad example of that happened. If somebody wants to come in the middle of pick a nice street, I don't know, Columbia, and they want to do that, maybe you might feel differently or something, but this is,
Well, let me frame it a little differently.
well, I mean,
The parking situation right now is non-conforming. They only have 2 parking spaces. They're required to have 4. They're now providing 4 spaces. They've complied with our ordinance. And they've done it in a way, that parking lot, the way it's designed, creates no further variances. They've met all of our ordinance requirements. So I think that they're complying with our ordinance is a testament to the fact this is beneficial.
I think what Tim is trying to explain, get me wrong, but maybe make it not as wide, but shorter, because it's how many, it's 22 feet, and then there's another 18 for the cargos, right? But how long is a normal car?
Most of the cars and SUVs will more than fill that parking space up.
I just asked how long the car is, how many feet?
How long a car is, they
Is it
vary,
eight-
anywhere from 16 to 22 feet.
Okay, so then, I was just looking at, where
The minimum required parking size is 18 feet.
feet, right, 18, but then there's another 22 behind it. That's what I was just saying, that maybe it being shorter and not, because you
they
do
were
have the
putting in a shed, I
turnaround.
don't know if they need any variance for this parking lot. Would they need a variance if there was no shed?
No, there's no variance for
So
the
they could build this if they could build this parking lot without a variance. It's just that because there's a shed involved, I think that's why we get a chance to improve the parking. But if they wanted to do this without putting in a shed, they could do this and we'd never even hear them.
And the other very
Right?
important
Isn't
part,
that true?
it was, I believe it is. It was when the shed triggered the need to come here, and then it was Mr. Hurlis's comment that said, hey, while you're here, why don't you fix the parking? So we went back to the drawing board to satisfy that request. The thing that, again, it was already brought up, but I don't want to lose sight, and perhaps there could be more testimony on the fact that these will be those geo pavers and the fact that it's going to be grass. In other words, if this were concrete or blacktop so that it presented like a parking lot, I think I would share that. I'm not sure I would say I agree fully, because under the 4 corners of the ordinance, it would still more closely comply. But if this presents largely, as we believe it will, as grass, but now it can have 4 cars parked on it, I think that's going to maintain the character of the neighborhood, not make this feel like you're behind a restaurant in their parking lot or something like that. That's the goal.
Yeah. When you eliminate non-conforming situations, like they were over on lot coverage, they've mitigated that, and now they're complying at 39.7%. So there are a lot of positives, like bringing this property back into conformity with improvements that are proposed.
It backs out onto West Perry Street.
Yeah, I know.
You don't want that.
That's why I recommended all of this in the very beginning, to make sure that the applicant was aware that I was very concerned about that.
And it's stacked parking with 2 separate units right now.
Right.
That's
That's
crazy.
It's about the worst possible
That's
parking
crazy.
situation you
Yeah,
can have.
yeah.
Yeah, I see nothing but positives from this. I don't vote, but that's just my opinion.
Are there any other questions? Craig, would you like to review it this time?
Sure. I'd like to summarize my February 27th, 2026 review memorandum. This is an application for a use variance along with the other C variances. I'm just going to roll right into completeness review since the applicants did a great job of explaining what's going on. They requested waivers from items 19, 22, 23, 27, 28, and 33 of the checklist. I did support all of those waivers and did recommend deeming the application complete. Once again, there is an existing non-conforming 2-family attached dwelling on this non-conforming lot. So a lot of the non-conformities relate to the use and the lot. So this is they're not actually expanding the use other than the accessory structure associated with that. And you've heard testimony from the applicant as to why that was why those are good things. I don't have any negatives to associate that change with. The lot size is undersized with regards to lot size, width, and frontage. There is an existing nonconformity with regards to the front building setback along West Perry Street and along with the total side yard requirement. The one question that I asked the applicant, and they did indicate that the shed would comply in every way, but there was no height provided with the shed. We asked that there be a construction detail added to the plan to verify that the height does not exceed 10 feet.
It's
I
15
think it's
listed.
15 with a peaked roof.
Okay.
Yep.
I think you're right there.
We
Will
can add.
comply with the code and provide a construction detail.
Craig, are we changing something in your chart?
Yeah, the required height for accessory shed is 15 feet.
The 25 becomes a 15?
The
Oh, wait,
10 foot at the very bottom of the second table,
That's 15.
Correct. It's 15 if you have a peaked roof.
but they have not provided what they're proposing.
Are you providing that? What is the height of the thing you're putting in?
It'll be maximum 15 feet peaked roof, and we can add that detail to the plans.
I'm going to put less than 15 in the chart, okay?
Perfect.
Is there a second story in the shed?
There's not.
Okay. I'm going to move on to my general review comments. I've talked about a couple of these already. One is our standard condition to revise the zoning table as appropriate. 2, I just talked about, which is providing a construction detail of the shed and providing the building height. 3, we talked about, which is the parking. 4 is they're required to comply with the grading and drainage, as well as item number 5. Item 6 is our standard condition that we evaluate the sidewalk prior to acceptance of the project, and they will be required to replace any unsatisfactory sidewalk. 7 through 12 are our standard conditions affixed to these types of applications. I will talk about the fire department review recommendation. They recommended approval dated 3/9/26. Public Works Department recommended approval dated 3/5/2026. And the Shade Tree Commission recommended approval indicating that there were no trees on the property, and that was dated March 5th, 2026. That is a summary of my review, and I'm happy to answer any questions the board has. Thank you.
If there are no questions for Craig, we'd like to open the meeting up now to the public, anyone within 200 feet. Anyone beyond 200 feet. Meeting is closed to the public. Okay, Rich, you want to explain the motion we made?
The motion I recommend you make, but how you vote is up to you, is a motion to grant the variances outlined by your board engineer, 1 through 5. Remember that this includes a use variance for expansion of a non-conforming use. Again, this is one of those ones that I agree it's an expansion of a non-conforming use, but it's a shed, so it's a bit of a stretch to say it's making it all that much more intense. And it's a shed that complies with all bulk standards, right? So, you know, that to say that the site can accommodate what's there now, but can't possibly accommodate this shed would be a challenging case to make. So they're the variances 1 through 5, subject to the conditions outlined by the board engineer, including that the shed be less than the 15 feet as modified in the chart. But that's the, and I just want to add that I do agree with our colleague that just randomly creating parking lots and backyards is not, to me, a great design feature throughout the town. Like, I'm not in favor of that. But when you have, we don't like back out parking. We have a non-conforming use, which a duplex, stacked parking and duplexes are not compatible. And it's a, you know, West Perry is not, particularly not a street you want to back out on all the time. So in this instance, you know, for those reasons, some of you might not say those reasons, but I want to say them so they're in the record. Because we may have another application where somebody wants to put a parking lot in the backyard, and you may say, no, we don't want a parking lot in the backyard. You know, you may weigh it differently in that instance, but there's some special circumstances here that I think you need to consider. So your point is well taken. Maybe just this isn't the spot. You vote how you want to vote. You may still feel that way. I just want to have something on the record distinguishing this from other things we might hear, where you may say the same thing, and everyone may chime in and say, we totally agree, because it'll be a different situation, okay? So that's the motion I recommend being made, and some thoughts on the standards. It does need 5 out of 7, so if you're going to vote no, you know, articulate your reasons, you know, carefully. I'm not saying you can't, I just want you to express them, because it's going to matter a lot. Okay? So that's the motion I recommend being made. How you vote is up to you.
Okay, would someone like to make the recommendation, the motion?
Did you hear Norm? I'll second.
I'm sorry, who motioned?
Norm.
Norm.
Okay, motion by Mr. Ledwin, seconded by Mr. Yeager. Mr. Ledwin,
Yes.
Mrs. Notch,
Yes.
Ms. Sheehan,
Yes?
Mr. Walsh,
No, I think I was pretty clear on what I said before. I feel that the loss of open space overrides the backing out into the street. Everybody's been backing out onto Perry Street for quite a while. It's not the best situation. I feel losing this open space is worse than the parking situation. We're always chasing parking. I'm right with everybody, you know, it's what we look at in every application is parking. I just don't think this application warrants it.
Mr. Dexter,
Yes.
Mr. Yeager,
Yes.
Mr. Venuto.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Kennis.
We need a motion to adjourn.
Bills to pay.
Oh, we did the bills already.
We did that.
We did them early.
Everything's done.
Motion to dismiss?
So, Ms. Sheehan motions to adjourn. All in favor?
A.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
That was Terry, yeah. I can't.